and frameworks for our clear understanding, and sorry for the technical hiccups. The third presenter is none other than Professor Dr. Arabella Bhutto, who is a member of Higher Education Commission Pakistan, and she's also the Vice Chancellor of SABS University of Art, Design and Heritages, Jamshoro, Pakistan. She is a Michigan State University Fellow for Women Leadership Program. She had her postdoc in entrepreneurial universities from Utah University, US, and PhD in Business and Management from Nottingham University Business School, UK. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Bhutto.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected Chair, all the dignitaries from the entire region, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So as the title of the presentation is already showing, it's State of Higher Education in South Asia, Research, Innovation, Sustainability, but I would like to talk about the future. I think since morning we're only looking and asking and listening the challenges, but I will be a person that would like to more talk about the solutions rather than looking only to the problems. So I would like to propose here that what could be the solutions through which it will become possible for this region to move on and really bring the research that we are doing in our universities, making it possible to bring it to the market. What I'll be doing, in fact, is to talk about these small points. I will try to be confined with my minutes, but I would again request Chair to please do not interrupt me with this ring. I will not take longer than 12 minutes, which were dedicatedly given to us, but I will, in fact, try to be more precise in my work. So I'll, in fact, talk about first that it's a very common model which Henry Eschkowitz gave us way back in 2003. The way it was talked that university, industry, government linkage is very important. And if we move on with this government three entities linkages, it will become possible for us to convert our research to the market-oriented products, market-oriented commercializable products. But then I also talk about that what we universities can really seek or understand from the goal, which I've already proposed by the UN in 17 SDGs, where in fact we do not only see them as a framework through which the guidance can come up, but these are in fact the real world problems. And if we start working or at least choosing one of these themes in every universities with the competitive advantages, we'll be able to solve the problems and coming up with solutions that I'm seeing that after learning from today's session, we'll be able to commercialize them into the market too. So this again, I said that we'll talk about how this canvas, which I have in fact developed during my postdoctorate at University of Utah, it is related in fact to an entire canvas which have certain stages, certain components, templates and checklists which allow us as a researcher to understand how to identify the product and then finally bring a solution to the market. Then I'll of course talk about that what was the journey of the development of this lean canvas for invention, which started with its development, then went on to the implementation, and then finally to its own commercialization. What additional resources I developed, that will also talk about it, and I'll also leave you with certain open resources that you can use in your universities throughout the region if you really want to convert the product we are really commercializable into the market. So I think if you know this Henry Eschkowitz, in fact, is the guru of triple helix model, and that triple helix model clearly said that universities can no longer be seen as only teaching institutions or only a research-oriented institution. What they have to do is to contribute in the society through the social development and economic development. And then at the same time, UNESCO has identified that the role of science education, particularly science and technology, particularly will focus if we really want to come up with certain solutions which can really solve the real world problems. At the same time, particularly the discipline of STEM have been emphasized. We all know that it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this role have been emphasized for a reason, because they have the potential to come up with those graduates, have much more research capacity, and they are knowing that the product that they're bringing to the market can have a patent and can really be commercialized. Been emphasized by other institutions too. And as I mentioned already, that the STEM, in fact, is the driver, or the STEM are the drivers for the sustainable development goals, which is in fact the major outcome we want to achieve, not only into the region, but globally. So moving on further, of course, solution is not any university can solve every problem. It means collaboration is highly required. And collaboration is required not only again into the region, but we need to go on beyond the boundaries. Coming back to this triple helix model, the triple helix model, how it can really support when we want to convert our research into the market-led products. Of course, three entities, it's university, government, and at the same time industry. But what are we sharing there? It is in fact a knowledge that we are creating into the universities, bringing it or making it commercialized through the industry, but of course with the support of government. If government is not there, it's really difficult to really connect these 2 points. But how we do that into the universities, because here mostly larger vice chancellors are sitting. And I'm sure that vice chancellors are aware from the technology transfer offices, which is in fact create the mechanisms through which we bring the researchers to the market. I mean, keep on emphasizing on that work again and again, because my major emphasis here is that the researcher, whatever kind of the research being done into the universities, they should be in a way that they have the capacity to solve the real world problem, and that is the only way we can really commercialize our products. When I get, in fact, a chance to doing my postdoctorate at University of Utah, and for their 9 months, I was sitting into the technology transfer office. And while sitting into the technology transfer office, I had more of an observation of what were they really talking about. Well, there were certain more intensive, I must say, some technologies where they were not allowing me to sit with them, but still I got more chance to go through the observation. I was listening what managers were saying, I was listening what researchers were saying. And let me share with you that I found that not only in this region, but globally, universities are still struggling with the knowledge asymmetries where researchers and the managers who are facilitating technology transfer offices do not talk similar language. So they have the knowledge asymmetries that even exist in the very advanced world. So if we are struggling, please do not worry, every world is same. So we are living into the same world. A very interesting example that I learned from there, and you can see this is a kind of knowledge gap which I observed. I tried to bring it in a shape of a cartoon because I think we were feeling a bit bored, or after lunch we really need some good flavors. So if you can see on your right-hand side, there is a researcher, and on your left-hand side there is a manager. So when researcher would come up, they will come up with an extensive high technology, and they will say, maybe I have developed something extraordinary, like di-nanogastic bimodulating energy conversion medical osmocosi combinator. Wow. The one may start thinking what it is. And somebody would start, maybe, is there anyone who can really care about? So it means there's a knowledge gap that created. We as a researcher, when we come up with an extraordinary technology, manager would say, please hold on, I don't really understand. Please make it possible for world to understand it for you too. So in fact, what I have done, I found that because of this knowledge asymmetry, most of the technologies that has even been created in the advanced world is struggling, and they are not really seeing the market. So even if it's happening here, it's very much true. It means that the invention disclosures which are happening there, they unfortunately are not able to see the market. It means there are some interventions required. It means there are some solutions need to be devised through which this gap or this knowledge symmetry can be bridged. And let me tell you that what I did there, I came up with an intervention that is my own curricula, that is my own canvas, and it is termed as Lean Canvas for Invention. In short and sweet, I call it LCI. So LCI, in fact, is an intervention which I devised. It is an extensive course, but not only a course, but course supported with other resources that I will just share with you in a moment. So this Lean Canvas for Invention, as I mentioned, it's a semester-based long course, but I've also taught this in an extensive workshop for 3 to 4 days. Now these 3 to 4 days workshop, of course, it will not be able to really take you to the market, but if you're going it through the semester-based courses, it will exactly take you to the market out. And if you can bring that LCI in between these two entities, which are the researchers and the managers, in fact, you will be able to bridge the knowledge asymmetry that I've just mentioned. And after implementing this, what I found, that at least researchers started talking simple language, and they're saying, I just created sliced bread. And the manager said, wow, I can understand about it. So let's move on further. What I've done, in fact, that when I was doing into the observation phase, I listed down 101 questions that managers were asking from the researchers. They were asking them that how you are going to do it, who will be interested, who will be using it. So there's so many relevant questions that researchers didn't know about it. What I did, I just listed down all those 101 questions. From those questions, I created certain codes, and from those codes, some themes emerged. And these themes were converted into this LCI, which you can see it's an 11 components only from 101 questions. So what I had to do is to just remove zero from between. Baki rest remain the same. Now this is something canvas, you can see it's a simple canvas, it's on a sheet, but it is answering 3 basic questions. The first question is, what is the problem which requires solution? Second question is, why it is required to solve this problem through a research. And third question is how we are going to solve it. Now you can see there's also a Z symbol, and that Z symbol in fact talks about the flow of the lean canvas for invention, and that flow starts from the problem identification, number one, going to literature search, moving on further to your right-hand side, reaching to novelty, coming down some inclination, coming to the research methodology, then moving on to other components. Of course, team capacity, because I've already talked about collaboration, and without collaboration, you are not going to achieve some results. And then finally, you have the research outcome. Now, all these 11 components, it itself is a very extensive work to do. In all these components, in fact, you will find a larger number of checklists. Each checklist have at least 12 to 13 questions that we need to answer, but of course with the help of certain templates which have already been devised. Now, devising those templates and checklists in fact helped me introduce this course not only in Pakistan, but I taught that course at University of Utah while I was doing my research there. But then at the same time, there are some of the glimpses you can see that I was teaching it to the managers of the technology transfer offices, but then at the same time I was teaching to the researcher from every field. I must say it's not only the STEM graduates, but we also engage the management discipline, and we also engage the medicine there. So there are few of the glimpses I shared, and these are some of the outcomes that really came out of it. Every component, every checklist, every template needs an answer if we really want to convert the research into the innovation. Some of the research papers have already been published. You can see it's a triple helix model because it's based on the very extensive work, which is on the collaboration of university, industry, government linkages. Papers being presented, it has been published into the journals, presented many conferences, but at the same time I've converted into a textbook. You can see it's on your right-hand side. The textbook with the title of Converting Ideas to Innovation with Lean Canvas for Invention is available on Amazon.com. Kindly go have a look. And if you can see and have an access to this, it'd be a wonderful resource to your libraries. Please go and buy it. Because Marriott Library at University of Utah has already bought it, we already made it a part of curricula, and that curricula is normally being taught at this university. When I was in USA, I was teaching this, but when I came back to the Pakistan, I started teaching into the different universities, including Mehran University of Engineering and Technology, and some other universities too. Kakar Saab is here because he's very fond of Balochistan. Butam was one of them, sir, so I taught the courses there too. So the book is available in the library, and each vice chancellor, particularly in this region, if you really want to seek something out of it, kindly have a look to that book. Some glimpse again. But then at the same time, what had happened that my supervisor and I realized that it's a very innovative idea, and that innovative idea must get some grants from the USA too. So we were privileged enough to submit the proposal to the National Science Foundation USA, and I think I'm the only Pakistani so far who have been identified as a senior investigator, and we successfully won this project from National Science Foundation. It was left for 3 years, and last July 2025 it got accomplished. Resultantly, what we have this entire course available at the University of Utah. But again, if I say it's University of Utah, it's going to be a copyright there, so everybody cannot have an access. So what we can do in this region? Well, I've developed my own website. Because I have my own website, this entire website, in fact, has all these 11 components, has all 11 checklists, has all 25 templates available, easily accessible for all of us to use in our classrooms, engage our student into it. But not only this, at the same time, I'm also going through the process of LCI Assistant, which is a chat bot being trained already onto this curricula. So it is AI-based, AI-supported curricula, which will help our student to learn how to convert your research into the commercializable products. So these are again from few of the glimpses. But again, I would say that it should not stop only at the university. Without the blessings from the government, this thing cannot really move on further. So in addition to this, what I've done is, I was a part of a working group when we were devising National Science, Technology, Innovation Policy in a country, and there on page number 40, it's clearly written that teach Lean Canvas for Invention to all STEM graduates, entire Pakistan. So it was again a blessings from the government of Pakistan, but again we are in the process of implementing it. The canvas is going to all the universities in Pakistan, and I'm proposing you to take it all the universities in the region, because very near future is going to be a global curricula because it is funded by National Science Foundation. Not only this, but at the same time, the idea was won the national competition, which was supported by the President of Pakistan, Dr. Arif Alvi. There was as the President of Pakistan, and the idea of Lean Canvas for Invention was converted into a company, InventC, and it got the award for the national winner too. So it means it's commercializable. There are a few of the glimpses. Kindly have a look to my YouTube channel. It's on my name, Arabella Bhutto, and you'll find the playlist that will talk about the different episodes, and those different episodes will teach you how to use Arabella's LCI. Moving on further, the course is available, the book has been published, the conference proceedings have been done, curricula is already available on the website. You can see on your left-hand side, it's me who is teaching along with the other professors. So in fact, what I've shared with you is the entire journey of Lean Canvas for Invention, which started from the development of LCI, a research, converted into the implementation, of course, with the blessings of university, industry, and government linkages, and have been commercialized, is ready to be used by any university, entire globe. So wishing you all the good luck with this LCI, and we are looking forward that inshallah very soon we are going to see and implement this LCI as a global curricula. Thank you very much, sir. Jazakallah khairan.